Hello, 6th graders. Welcome to Big Ideas Math, Contract Math, Section 9.1, 2014 edition, Surface Areas of Prisms activity. Pause while you write Section 9.1's activity in your math notebook. Pause again while you write today's activity objective in your math notebook. Today's objective is use the nets of prisms to understand surface area. Copy the following key terms, definitions, and examples exactly as they appear into your notebook. Surface area. Surface area is the sum of the areas of all the faces of a solid. Lateral surface area of a prism is the sum of the areas of the lateral faces of a prism. Today we'll be starting on page 185 in your Record and Practice Journal. Activity 1, Surface Area of a Rectangular Prism. We'll be using the net for a rectangular prism. So from 6th grade math, you should remember that a net is a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional figure. So they have drawn for you the net of the three-dimensional figure to the left on the right. It says label each side as H, W, or L, height, width, or length. Then we're going to write a formula for the surface area of a rectangular prism. So let's start by labeling our sides, and we can tell really easily that the short sides are the width. So we'll label those with W's. There's lots of them. And we have to label these in here also where you have the dashed line. And then the longer sides, but not the longest side, those are the length. I missed a W here, so there's a length here and a length here. So that corresponds with this L over here. And there's a length here and a length here. So you can see how if you folded this up and you matched these two together, if we connected that, these two sides would also connect up. The two L's, those would connect with each other. And then what's left is the height. So we have a height here and a height on the other end. So that's right there. So now that everything has been labeled, we can start writing our formula. So if we look back at our definition of surface area of a prism, it tells us that we need to get the area of each of the faces of the prism. So if we look at this carefully, we can see what those are. And we can see that right here on the end, we have a rectangle, and the area of that would be width times height. So let's go ahead and write that. Width times height. And we're going to add that to our next area, which is going to be the sides here, which are the same. So there's two of those, so we're going to put a 2 there. And that's length times width to get the area of that rectangle, because it's got a length here and a width here. So length times width. And then if we keep moving down the net, we can see that the next rectangle we're dealing with is this one on the inside, this big one. And it has an area of the length, which comes in from here. You can see that L matches up to that side, and the height. So it's length times height. So we're going to add that, but there's another one down here that has the same area. So there are two of those, which makes sense because there are two sides to this prism or this box. There's one over here and there's one back here that we can't see in the picture. So there's two of those. So that would be 2 times length times height. And then there is this little rectangle, which we left out at the beginning. It also has an area of width times height. So all we really need to do there is put a 2 on the front. So it's 2 times width times height, because there's a front of this box and then there's a back of the box back here that we can't see. So really what you end up with is 2 of each of the rectangles that you have. One for the top of the box and the bottom of the box, one for the left side and the right side, and one for the front side and the back side. So that makes sense for a formula. So that equals our surface area of a rectangular prism. And we have to specify because not all prisms are rectangular. The next activity we'll be doing in class. However, I want you to get started on it at home. So I have given you a net with this on it, this net, and I want you to follow this second sentence and third sentence of directions, where it says use a cutout of the net and fold it to form a solid. So you're going to be folding along the dotted lines, and then just use a little bit of tape on the edges to connect it up so it has so it makes a solid. And then you'll just bring it to school tomorrow and you'll complete the activity with a partner. Your assignment for this lesson is to cut out the net for Activity 2 on page 185 of your Record and Practice Journal. Be prepared to complete the rest of the activity with a partner during our next class. Remember, to earn credit for viewing this flipped lesson, you need to complete your exit slip, come to our next class prepared with the journal pages or other work from the flipped lesson completed, be prepared with any work that was assigned in the flipped lesson completed, and be prepared with any questions you have for your teacher, and of course have a good attitude.